Sorry I'm late, but Daenerys and her dragons were chasing me all over town and King's Landing. They were chasing me all over King's Landing. Does this ring any bells for you?
Are you from Game of Thrones?
Yes, Game of Thrones, exactly.
This is Improv in Real Life. I'm Jude Treder-Wolff. In this podcast, we'll explore how improv can help us navigate the speed of life through conversations with experts who are wise, hilarious, and deeply human.
It's a Friday night around 7 o'clock. It's November of 2005, right before Google changed everybody's life and my direction challenged life. So I have my printed out, turn-by-turn MapQuest directions on the seat of the car I'm driving. And I left late, just in time to hit New York City, rush hour traffic, on my way upstate to Mohawk Mountain House, where I'm going to a Face Your Fears retreat. There are many things I could focus on, but what I really want to focus on is my fear of rejection, because it's holding me back as an artist from trying things, from putting work out there. I'm getting tired of it. I don't like it. But it also circles back to I have a fear of saying no to people sometimes because I don't want them to feel rejected the way I feel when I'm rejected. So there's this stalled out experience that I have, and I want to deal with that. But right at this moment, I'm actually getting what I paid for already because I am facing one of my fears that I didn't even know I had, which is driving in the mountains by myself when I'm tired in the rain and being lost because these directions are just not cutting it. I don't know where I'm going. I get very rattled. I stop at a gas station, get another turn-by-turn direction, write on a piece of paper. So by the time I get to Mohawk Mountain House, I'm exhausted and I'm rattled. So when I get to the room where everybody's gathered, and there's maybe 40 people in a big space before the Friday night event, I didn't miss it, but I don't feel great walking in there. And this combination of adrenaline and tiredness is like a combination on a safe. And so I walk in there and I get a shyness attack that I didn't expect at all. People are mingling. There's people in pairs, little groups, and nobody's waving me in. And that's, of course, not their responsibility. That's nobody's obligation. But I feel frozen. Is this an exercise? Is this thing started because I'm late? I feel self-conscious. I feel so self-conscious. I don't actually know where to sit because I don't want to sit in the wrong place and look even more self-conscious. So I start doing this thing where I'm pretending to look for something behind people so that I kind of have to say, oh, excuse me, as if I lost something or someone. It's such a weird feeling, this shyness attack. I don't want to stand there not speaking, but so I'm sort of pretending to mingle while I pretend to look for something. And this guy comes up to me and looks at my name tag and says, "Hey, Jude, I bet you get that a lot. I bet you're sick of it already." And I say, no, I love it. I could never get enough of Hey, Jude. And he says, well, I'm frank. What else could I be? I'm very frank. And I said, oh, I'm thinking, thank God somebody is speaking to me warmly and nicely. And he says, so what are you up here for? And I say, what is everybody up here for? People who want to deal with fears and our scripts and our programs in our head. And he says, oh, well, I'm with Wake Up Now. And I say, oh, is that your book or something? Is this? No. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. He's waving me in. So I sit down and he says, no, Wake Up Now. You could use it with your clients. We have Wake Up Now energy drinks. We have Wake Up Now financial management. And look, I have a trunk full of product. If you become a distributor, you can get 20% off all the products. And it suddenly occurs to me that Frank is recruiting me for a multi-level marketing company of some kind. And he just saw me standing there and saw an opportunity to talk to me about this. And for the first time in a long time, I have no trouble rejecting him. So I run away because I don't want to do this. And I find a place to sit. And I think about that often, about how awkward those moments are in a room full of strangers and how anything can happen. And if my guest today, Matt Weinstein, was running this event, none of that would have happened. Everybody would have been engaged in something that was meaningful and interesting, and that self-consciousness and stranger danger would be reduced by a lot because that's his special sauce. You're going to love this conversation about his company Playfair and the work that they do using improv in large groups. I hope you enjoy. If you enjoy stories like this, head over to Spotify and check out Funny Story with Jude Treder-Wolff. They're true stories from my life, often told live on stage. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is brought to you by Lifestage. Lifestage provides opportunities for people to gain skills and knowledge for navigating today's uncertain world. The capacity for creativity, connection to new ideas and other people, collaboration, and community building. For more information, visit lifestage.me.
My guest today is the Emperor of Play, Matt Weinstein. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Jude.
I was reading about you and preparing for this episode, and I saw that all over a lot of your bios, an emperor of your company, as well as the executive director or the manager of your company. I
Yes,
think
that's what it says on my business card. You know, I got tired of being outranked in these meetings. So, the other great thing has always been when I exchange business cards with somebody, if they laugh or something, I know we're going to be able to work together. If they go like, what is this? Then it's like, okay, I'm not interested in you being a client. Let's just move on.
That's amazing. It's like a discerning, like, do you get me?
Exactly. From the start. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that because you know what? Go for the very top. Emperor is the very top. Why not? Go for the...
It is the top. And, everybody in the company always says, hey, Emp. That's what they call me, Emp. So it's just really been fun from the beginning. And
So let's talk about this company that you're Emp of. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Well, we just had our 50-year anniversary, amazingly enough. Yeah. So
you're far too young for this to have happened. This is impossible.
I did start out kind of young. It is true. But we're in probably the fourth generation now of our trainers going out and doing the programs. And we kind of started, our first client actually was the Philadelphia Bicentennial in 1976, I guess.
Yes.
And we said to them, well, you know what? I need to backtrack a little bit. I was really lucky to find a mentor, just an amazing guy I went to a conference in Boston called the Educational Arts Alliance, and I had heard of this guy, Bernie DeKoven, his name was, because he developed a whole curriculum based on play in Philadelphia. And some of his trainers had come through where I was in graduate school. And so when I saw him on the bill, I came and I said, hey, I came here to study with you. And he was like, what do you mean? There are a lot more famous people than me here. And I said, no, you are my guy. So I went to his class, and this will give you an idea of his insane teaching style. He said, I was just down in the exhibit hall, and I found these giant 4-foot straws. What do you think we can do with them? And that was the opening to his class. And there was dead silence for quite some time. And I could tell until somebody says something, he's just going to sit there. So I actually got this brainstorm. I ran out into the hallway to the water fountain and got a mouthful of water. And I went back and took one of the straws and started spraying it at him. And we chased each other around the room. And so it was clear we had a connection there. And after the class, he said, come to lunch with me. And he told me, I have this place in Pennsylvania called the Games Preserve. It's 25 acres. It's a center for the development of adult playfulness. He said, I have to leave there, and I want you to come take it over. And I'm like, I know you 10 minutes. He said, no, I can tell. He said, I'll come back eventually, but my wife needs to go somewhere. I need to go with her. I want you to come down, see the place, and I want you to run it. So, of course, it was an opportunity of a lifetime for me. And I did a lot of publicity. I got the Village Voice to come down. I got the Washington Post to come down. And of course, nobody ever quite understood what we were up to. A center for adult playfulness, the Games Preserve. Either people thought we were some kind of X-rated summer camp for adults, or else they would go like, the Games Preserve, where are the wild animals? And we were like, no, that's not what we're about. We're about building teams through games, play, and fun. And we had a spectacular run there. And then when the bicentennial came by, we decided, let's try to take this show on the road. And so that's where the company Playfair came from. Playfair was the traveling version of the Games Preserve. And when Bernie came back, he stayed at the Games Preserve and I took the thing on the road.
That's a fantastic story that you were meant to be with your mentor. I just thought of that
Exactly.
this very moment. I just made that up. So let's talk about the magic of improv that you have deployed in this really specific way with the company, the way you do these very big events. What is your idea about what is the magic of improv that makes that so special?
Well, our theory is that most people spoke the language of play very fluently in childhood, but somehow they got raised that the older they got, the less relevant it was, the less important it was. But we thought if we can design games that no one has seen before, as adults, we can make it safe enough, because there's this funnel. Everybody plays when you're young. By the time you're in high school, everybody's in the stands and a few people are running around on the field and you're watching them and cheering for them. And we thought, no, that's wrong. Let's get everybody out of the stands and onto the field and play games with them that no one has ever seen before. So no one is more talented or has more expertise. And mostly what we play are also collaborative games. So, there's what we call the sink or swim model. Either your whole team wins together or your whole team loses together, but it doesn't matter at all because in the end, everybody is bonded together just by playing together. So, for example, our biggest client right now would be the first day of school at new student orientation for colleges and universities. And we'll do this year somewhere between 300, 400 different colleges. And the great thing, that movie Groundhog Day?
Of course.
That's what it's like for us. You're going from city to city, but it's always the first day of school and everybody has the same concerns. And our average size group to play with, I would say, is 300 to 400, but we work with groups as large as 5,000 or 6,000 at some of the really big universities. And it's amazing to see, especially that population. For a lot of them, it's their first time away from home. They're really scared. They were a big fish in high school, but all of a sudden, they're not such a big fish anymore. And they walk into the room just really full of anxiety. And 90 minutes later, they walk out arm in arm. They're cheering. They're just so connected because that's the beauty of play. It really is a way to bypass just all the uptight feelings people have about concentrating on themselves and gets them a way to connect in a really fun way because, shared laughter is such a quick way to connect people together. And we just give them an opportunity not to show off, but to just experience something new together that's really, really joyful.
It's amazing that you have that population, particularly that many young students, 18 years old, at the height of, in a way, I'm especially starting something new where their lives are changing in such a dramatic way, where, the stranger danger, the old stranger danger brain can easily be activated, as you said. Either they're far away from family, but they're really starting a new chapter of life. It's so powerful to think about the way you're deploying play, because even that word for some people, it weirds people out. But if you just give them the instruction of what it is they're going to do, because I've experienced a lot of what you do in large groups, it is there's an immediacy and a joy at the same time. And also a sense of not being able to know what's going to happen next. Right.
Yes,
exactly. in these, so when that stranger danger is the brain always going like, what is going to happen next? But you're taking that in a different direction. You won't know what's going to happen next. And it's not only going to be okay, it's going to be fun.
One of the things we want to do is get them away from their high school friends because oftentimes there are a couple of people they know and they're ready to grab onto them. So we often start off with something that's I'm telling you, I learned this from Bernie DeKoven 50 years ago. It's a game called Incorporations, and it's about forming and reforming groups as quickly as you can. So get into a group of three, find out their names. Okay, double the size of your group. Okay, the next group cannot contain anybody from this group, and find four other people wearing one item of clothing the same color as one of yours, and just boom, 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 running from one to the next. And yet it's things that are everybody finds success in. And, just encountering people really quickly in these silly things is such a fun, laughter-producing way to do it. And then finally, we say to people, okay, you have 1 minute to get together with every single person, let's say in this stadium, who is born in the same month as you are. And so people are running around, they're yelling, May, 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 and getting together. And of course, who cares that somebody's born in the same month as you? But in that kind of situation, it's very bonding. People get really excited to find other people that they have something in common with. And we give them a little rap about astrology and how it's been around. And supposedly you have something in common with people. And then we take a look and find out things that they do have in common and they don't have in common when we get them in their month groups. But it's just great to see how excited they are to find people who are like them, even though, are you really like somebody born in the same month as you? Not really, no.
Well, you know what's really cool about that? And I like the therapist in me always been interested in the why. First of all, why are we scared in groups? But then why does this work so well? And there's that need to belong. And when you have all these students and people in a smaller therapy group, it's the same dilemma. It's that I'm in this world now where I'm going to be more vulnerable, more exposed. But how do I find how I belong in this place where the rules are different? I don't really know what this world is like. I'm just figuring it out. And what you're giving these students is an opportunity to say, here's a simple way to connect with other human beings. And you may or may not have things in common other than the fact that your birthdays are in May. But that need to belong is going to drive people to try. Yeah. They want to belong and we don't want to feel that anxiety of discomfort. And you're giving them a pathway. Here's a lane you can go in. I love that. It's just, here's a lane you can drive in and see who you pick up along the way.
Exactly. And then even, I'm trying to think of some games to describe to you, even some ones we could play. And I'll tell you one that we started doing during COVID because we had to go totally online, and it seemed like, how can we possibly work with 1,000 people online? But there's ways, there's ready-made breakout sessions, for example. We have a million ways to get people in person into groups. So I'm thinking of a partner thing, actually, that this is actually, again, something that I learned, in graduate school years and years ago. So just a simple verbal game that we can play. And this is a very famous one from the heyday of the personal growth movement, which is the story of your name. In other words, who you named after, maybe a nickname, a middle name, your last name, are you named after a relative? So I'll tell you mine, and it's about my middle name, and then maybe you can tell us one of yours. My middle name is Chaim, which in Hebrew means life. And I actually, when I was a little kid, I felt kind of uptight about it because it wasn't English, it wasn't American, it wasn't like a lot of my classmates. But in later life, I found out that I was named after my father's socialist teacher, Chaim Kantorovich. And I looked him up on the web, and he wrote books in several different languages. And I thought, oh, that is so cool to be named after like an intellectual hero of my dad's. And the other wonderful thing for me is the H in the middle of my name, MHW. If you turn the whole thing over, it reads exactly the same. And I hardly ever find anybody who you can turn their initials upside down and it makes no difference.
Those are fun details about your name. And now I learned something interesting about you and your family. So I've got a story about my name. So my first name. So my family is very Catholic. And my mother prayed to all the saints for various troubles and problems. And there were many. There were just like this sense of like, we're just always praying for all our troubles and everybody's troubles and problems. And I was told all of my life that my mother had she didn't tell me the details of it, but she said, I prayed to St. Jude, the patron saint of the impossible, because we had an impossible situation. And I told St. Jude that if this situation was resolved, I would dedicate my next child to him. Name this child after him, because St. Jude is a man, a cousin of Jesus, and first cousin of Jesus, I guess on Mary's side, because it can't be Joseph's side, according to the story. Anyway, so I was the next. Apparently, the prayer was answered, and I never knew what because my mom would tell me lots of the drama, but not the details, because whatever, it was probably somebody was drinking too much or something terrible, or somebody was sick and they got better, something like that. So I was named for St. Jude, and it was drilled into my brain that nothing is impossible for me, which isn't necessarily healthy. But on the one hand, it made me feel sort of intrepid, like I could take on things. And sometimes it made me feel very boundaryless. And I wouldn't recognize that's definitely not something I should be trying to do. But that's the story of my name. So I hated it when I was a kid because it's a man's name and I was embarrassed about it. And when I was about 19, I embraced it. And I said, that's my name. I'm not a Judy. I'm a Jude. So.
Oh, that's fabulous. Yeah. Some of the Playfair facilitators, just when they demonstrate their name before other people are going to do it, they'll say, okay, what's 5 things that you just learned about me from the story of my name? And people yell them out. And of course, there's a bunch of things we could say about each other just from hearing those stories. It starts really giving people a way in to appreciate, we're different, but we're the same in some ways, we can connect at any rate.
Right. And you and I were both named for iconic figures in our parents' lives. We were both, we come from families that have a strong religious foundation in some way, or cultural foundation that their families are identified with. So before we jump off the name thing, I just want to mention this. This is not your game, but I developed this game for therapy purposes where I had people say their name backward and then say a thing that is opposite of how they really are, but maybe a way that they would like to be. So my name backward is Iduj. We would refer, and we do the name game, and my opposite self is very good with details. Anyway, so I find
your opposite
really
self. I like
it's
that.
another way to reveal yourself of like how you would like to grow or change, maybe, to maybe, So that's another name game to play.
I've often thought of Tatam, my name backwards, but I haven't thought of myself backwards. I like that twist to it.
Yeah, like what would be a character trait that would be like, oh, I'd have to grow into that. It's the opposite of how I am now. Or it could be the opposite, but you don't want to grow into it. It's just the opposite of how you are, but it still reveals something to the people listening to you, of something about your nature. So names could share a lot. So that's a very fun game that you get. So you might do that with your students, for example, or in smaller groups, or did you develop that one through Zoom?
We did that through Zoom, but now we get a lot of talk about the student body is changing in that they're much more sensitive to sound, to loud sounds, and a lot more introverted. And so rather than people running around doing loud games all the time, we're trying to put some more one-on-one discussion game like that one, or even this is one that works better with a larger group of like 5 or 6. But I'll show you another game that's fun, but it allows everyone to just be a little less frenetic than is my preference. I love to have people running around yelling, shouting, jumping, running after each other. So this one is called Sorry I'm Late. You may know it. And you say the word sorry I'm late, and as your excuse for being late, you give the plot of a book or a movie or a TV show. Like, sorry I'm late, but a tornado picked up my house and put it on and landed on a wicked witch, and I found out there's no place like home. And then the other people in your group, which it helps if there's 5 or 6 of them, try to figure out what movie it is. Yeah.
Right.
So that one,
or it could be a book or a movie.
Could be a book, movie, TV show with the college population who let them do a video game even, which would be harder for you and me. But so with 2 people, the chances aren't really great that we're going to know each other's movies. But with 5 or 6 people, usually somebody knows it. And then I always do say to them, okay, if you go 30 seconds without anybody guessing, just have mercy on them and tell them the answer. And
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to
Well,
try it? Go
sure.
ahead.
Okay. Yeah. You want me to go? I'll go. I've got one.
You got one? Okay, great.
You don't want to know the category, just the sorry I'm
No,
late.
just sorry I'm late, and then tell me what happened.
All
Yeah.
right. God, Matt, I'm so sorry I'm late.
Yeah.
I was with my three sisters. One is older and two are younger than me. And we don't have a lot of money. And I was trying to finish my manuscript before I submitted it to the editor of a newspaper in town to see if I could get some money for our family because we just don't
Is
have
this
a lot
Little
of.
Women?
Yes, it is.
Okay. How literary of you.
It's my favorite of all time. Let's see if
Oh,
I
that's
could get
great.
one for you. Let's see. I mean, I got the Wizard of Oz one. You got another one?
Okay. Yes. Sorry I'm late, but Daenerys and her dragons were chasing me all over all over town, and you know what? I just pulled this one out of the air. So what is the name of that town they were chasing me around? King's Landing. They were chasing me all over King's Landing. Does this ring any bells for you?
Are you from Game of Thrones?
Yes, Game of Thrones, exactly.
I love this. You know what really would be fun in a group of 5 or 6 is that it's a collaboration game as well. So somebody might not have ever seen Game of Thrones, but they might have heard of it, right? But somebody
Yeah.
else might know details of it, and they'll help each other.
That's exactly what happens. Someone says, oh, it was that thing on HBO. And then, somebody goes, oh, yeah, Game of Thrones. Right.
Yeah, so there's a beautiful chemistry that happens when people say this is a very simple goal to figure out why is Matt late or why is Jude
Yeah.
late. But it's a simple goal to get the name of that book or movie. And yet it could really excite your brain to try to figure it out. And when people do it together, what a wonderful chemistry. That's the magic of the improv spirit, is that we don't
Yeah.
know, and it's okay that we don't know. It's not only okay, it's delightful that we don't know.
Exactly.
And we're going to
Yeah.
figure it out together. And you're bringing that in this incremental way to people. It's okay to not know. That's what games are about. Games are about not knowing how it's going to end. I mean, it's going to end in some way. A game is going to end. It's going to conclude.
Well, if you can do something and feel supported, that's really a major, major step to building community. That, as you say, people collaborate together because the group mind always comes up with more than any individual does. Yeah.
And it is an effortless collaboration because it's not a high stakes goal to figure out what this movie or book is. No one's getting hurt. No one's really taking a huge risk. It's a little bit of a risk to put it out there and hope that you describe it well enough. And I got to say, I work with a lot. It's interesting to me that I work with a lot of people who just take straight up improv classes from me, and some other people that do a lot of applied improv stuff that are, even though everybody knows it's fun, that adult mind, I got to get it right. I'm a professional. I can't look silly. That still plays, that's still there. That's still in a major way. So even a game like this could feel a little bit loaded for people, but it's manageable. It's a manageable emotional risk.
Right.
But it's the group support that is so delightful to our hearts, our souls, and gives our minds a little spark. I'm not alone in this, and nothing happens if we don't figure it out. We just got to know each other a little better.
Yeah. Well, we didn't invent the ultimate rock, paper, scissors game, but probably 15 years ago, we did a thing at the University of Washington, which is really big. That's about 5,000 students. And one of the students actually started this, the version of rock, paper, scissors that I'm talking about?
I do, but I think it's good for you to describe it.
So you start off playing rock, paper, scissors with a partner, and the person who is defeated doesn't leave the game. They walk around behind that person, cheering them on. And every time that person wins, they win not only their opponent, but all the people behind their opponent. So pretty soon they have a posse of 20 people cheering them on, and it just gets bigger and bigger, bigger, till finally there's only 2 people left. And sometimes there's 1,000 people cheering for each one. And we bring them up on stage. But
What?
what's really great is you get converted from a competitive game into a really cooperative one where it's like my 1,000 against your 1,000 and our representative is up there. So really, really fun.
It subverts the idea of what it means to win. It subverts it to
Exactly.
what it means to win is that we all had a blast and we had fun and that we just move on. For example, we move on
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean that the person that won, I mean, obviously that game, it's not a matter of you being smarter or better.
No, it's complete luck.
Yeah, it's
In
total luck.
fact, I played that game once at a prison in Texas, and we had an odd number of people, so I had to jump in and start playing actually. And because it's complete luck, I just started winning and just kicking everybody's butt. And I'm like, and thinking to myself, oh my God, I can't win this thing. This would be horrible. So, I went like 4 or 5 deep, and people finally, fortunately, someone beat me and I got to, join their posse because I'm thinking, oh my God, these guys will turn on me if I win this thing. So that was so fun. That was
It's
so
fixed.
fun.
It's rigged.
It's fixed. Exactly.
Rock, paper, scissors is rigged. That paper didn't beat that rock. Well, that's such a fun story. And can you share more about working in the prison? Can you share more about what you did there?
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's this wonderful program pretty much in all of Texas. And there's a number of different prisons participating. And I believe it's called the Prison Entrepreneurship Program, which means when you're released, you'd like to start your own business. And this gives you some training to do that. You have to have, I believe, less than 3 years left on your sentence to be accepted into the program. And people transfer in from all different prisons. And the place where it started was in Cleveland, Texas, outside of Houston. And you would think, I don't know what you would think. And I don't know what I thought either. Just someone invited me to come in and work with the inmates. And in fact, it was such a beautiful, beautiful experience. Well, one of the great things about it is to kind of diffuse that energy, the macho energy that you'd find in a prison. They give each other sweet names that they call them, which are nicknames. And so the guys in my, that I was working with, there's one guy named Puddin' Pie, one guy named Beverly Hills Chihuahua. And so they just have these very cute names, and they actually give the faculty names after they come in. So the name they gave me was Sweet Richard Simmons, because I reminded them with my energy of Richard Simmons. And I'll tell you another funny thing. The next year when I came back to the prison again, I walk in and had a really loud sound system, and I walk up on stage and I notice they're pushing this one young inmate from the back up towards the front, and people are yelling out all kinds of things, and I can't understand what they're saying, and the music is really loud. And finally he gets up right in front of the stage and he looks up at me and he kind of starts dancing, and everybody's yelling and screaming. And I think for some reason they want me to dance with this guy. So I jump off the stage and the two of us start dancing, and the place just explodes. Well, it turns out that this inmate was also nicknamed Sweet Richard Simmons, and they just wanted to see the two Richard Simmonses dance together, which was great. If only they had clued me into what was happening. I thought, I haven't been here 30 seconds. I've lost total control of the room. But that was so fun. Richard Simmons Jr., I called him.
Those are amazing stories. Thank you so much for sharing those. Partly you're rolling with the idea of you reminding other people of someone. But here, this is an interesting thing I'm learning about you right now. And I'm thinking about this world of working in the reality of living in a prison where life is very constrained and controlled. And of course, people are there not by choice. Depends how you look at it, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Like they're forced to do things and a certain way. And people feel that way in corporations. I'm not trying to say it's a sentence when people work in corporations, but I'm saying that a lot of people have a perception that they're constrained and forced into roles and into ways of behaving. And improv, either world, there's a way in which improv lifts people out of that reality. One is much darker and the other is perceptual, maybe the place is oppressive, but one is truly designed to be oppressive. The other is allegedly not a corporate world, but it does have its rules.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
improv has this ability to lift people out of that painful, difficult reality into something that both groups would share. Does that seem fair
Yes.
to say?
Totally. And when I first started working in corporate America, one of the things that I would do in almost every program, I would say, how many people have been having something of a tough time of it lately? Tough month, tough week, tough day up to now, and just a quick show of hands. And I would actually ask all those people to come up on stage with me, get them in a line. We'd grab hands, and I'd say, you see in front of you a group of your hardworking colleagues who, for some reason or another, have been having something of a tough time of it. On behalf of this, beautiful community we're forming today, let's give these people the most thunderous, the most spectacular standing ovation they've ever dreamed of. And so everybody would get up, we would take our bows, and the beaming faces, it was like a circuit because the people in the audience loved giving it and the people up there loved getting it. And then in what was truly an insane improv idea, but I did this for many years, I would say, okay, from now on, at any time, anybody who wants to can jump up and say, I want a standing ovation, and no matter what we're doing, we will stop it and give it to you. And it was really fun, but the main drawback was people would not be listening to what I'm saying. They're like, should I get one? I really want one. Yes, I'm going to do it. And they would just jump up right before the punchline of one of my jokes or right in the middle of one of my stories, And so thank God I'm an improviser, and I would like, okay, yeah, that was great, and then try to connect it somehow to what I had been about to say. But I think the sense of giving each other appreciation like that was more important than anything else that I had to teach them, really. So I was happy to see that happening in the audience spontaneously.
And you're asking people to ask for it, which is, you're saying,
That's exactly
when
right.
You're saying to people, I need this right now. And that's a big deal. That's another sort of big social anxiety piece, I think people.
The other proviso, I said, you have to ask for it for yourself. It can't be, I need one from my friend Susie over here. No, you can coach her to go for it. You can support her, but it's important that people ask for that for themselves.
I'm amazed that people did it. I really can understand people getting up on stage with other people and saying, yeah, I'm having a tough time. I'm having a tough time. I feel unappreciated. Oh, me too. There's a me too feeling like we're all in this together. But to ask for it as an individual is something else.
But you know what? It's more impactful that way, that you really made yourself a little vulnerable. And 100% of the time, people get fantastic ovations back. Yeah. Now, when we took this to the college campuses, of course, people would climb to the top of the flagpole and looking down, I want a standing ovation up here. As soon as someone would ask, people would lift them up on their shoulders and parade them around the room. People used to say to me, what's the difference between working with a college audience and a corporate audience? And I would say, sometimes at the end of a college program, the students will rush the stage, pick me up on their shoulders and carry me around the room. I say that happens much less frequently with, say, IBM.
You think?
Yeah, much
That's
less
a shocker. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So the students really get into that? The students are enjoying asking for, giving each other standing ovations and asking for them.
Totally. In fact, at some point, we have to say, okay, standing ovations for 10 more seconds, going once, and all sorts of people, and then stop, because we have lots more to get through now.
But you've generated then a spirit of enthusiasm without restraint. And, that's another thing about people trying to be cool or people needing to show up in the world. And there's all these masks we wear and the ways that we are pressuring ourselves or have felt safe presenting ourselves in various ways. And then to overcome that, whatever those masks may be, those defenses, in order to be truly enthusiastic and show it, is a wonderful freedom to offer to people. We're going to give you the pathway to feel and show it's okay to root for people and for people to root for you and to show it. I love that.
Those things do continue after the event too. I've had, even in corporations, I've heard somebody made a sale and he jumped up and went, I need a standing ovation. And everybody who had been to the program just jumped up and gave it to him. And that happened in college classes as well. In fact, there was one college conference where our agent was there in the hotel with us. And he told me the next morning, the kids were so rowdy, and I go out, and it's the middle of the night. I can't sleep. I'm about to tell them something. He said, then I realized they're giving each other standing ovations. So I just closed the door, went back to sleep.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
Yeah.
I know that from a colleague of mine that there are people that meet in your events, these orientation events. She works with teens and she works with a lot of, she'll sometimes follow and track their progress as they go to college and go on with their lives. They'll check back in with her. And some people have met at these orientation events and become lifelong friends. Sometimes they've gotten married to each other. So these events have created lifelong relationships. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, in the best way.
Yeah, no, it's very amazing. In fact, one couple met in the Playfair. They dated all through, and the groom said, I'd like to hire you for an event with my family. We said, sure, how many people? He said, there'd probably be 50 people there. I said, what's the event? He says, well, they don't know it, but I'm going to propose to my girlfriend.
Oh, stop it.
And we met at Playfair, and this completes the circle. So I want to, like, in the middle of the Playfair, have you do a thing where I bring her up. And so that was so amazing. So amazing. Yeah. People do meet, fall in love. It's great. Do you want to play one more game at some point?
I'd love to play one more game. Yes, let's play one more game. Yeah.
Okay, great. This is another kind of verbal game, and I like to mix physical games in with the verbal ones. So this game is called No, No, No. And the way it works is I'll give us a word, and our job is to misdefine that word with a word that sounds like it. So, for example, if the word that we worked on was June, I might say, okay, June is the Earth satellite up in the sky. And you would go like, no, that's not June. You're thinking of the moon. June is a like shriveled up prune that people, take when they're constipated. And then I would go, no, that's not June. You're thinking of a prune. June is the thing you eat your breakfast cereal with, the utensil. And then you would go, and you always have to go, no. Right? That's not June. Okay.
That's a spoon. So it has to rhyme.
A spoon. You got it. It has to rhyme.
Got it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's do the word cat, like, a grown-up kitten. Okay. So a cat is something you would wear on your head as you walk around town. You'd have a nice cat on your head.
No. That's called a hat.
Oh, a hat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A cat is something that when you do yoga, you lie down upon it.
Yes. No. That's not a cat. That's a yoga mat you're thinking of. Yeah.
Oh.
A cat is, somebody that's really, really overweight. You'd say, oh, that person is so cat.
No. I'm sorry. That word is fat.
Oh, fat.
That's just fat.
Yeah.
A cat is the sound that something makes when it lands on the sidewalk. Yeah, that's what a cat is.
I'm so glad a cat. No. I think you're thinking a splat.
Oh.
Yeah. A cat, we'll just do one more each.
Okay.
A cat is like a little mosquito kind of thing that kind of like buzzes around and a whole bunch of them and you have to get them away from your face. There's a bunch of cats flying around here.
Wait, that's a
little insect.
A little insect that I can't think of what rhymes with.
Well, you know what? It's spelled very oddly, kind of like
You're thinking of a gnat.
a gnat. Yes, exactly.
Wait,
Uh,
I had one. I know what a cat is.
yeah.
A cat is what you say when you didn't get your way and you go, oh, it's not
Oh,
like
no, no, no,
darn.
no, 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 no. That's not cat. You're thinking of drat.
Okay. Okay.
Was that what you were thinking of? Was it drat? Okay,
Yes.
good. All right. Well, you get the
Yes.
idea.
What
So,
a fun
yeah,
game. I love that game.
isn't that fun? Many
Yes.
laughs.
Yes.
And in a limited way, stimulates your mental thinking too.
Well, yeah. And right. It's got that element of novelty and of safety. It's got all the
Yeah,
fun things. And
yeah.
go
Also,
ahead.
what's great is you get to do something wrong and be proud of it.
Oh, that's true too. Right. Because it's like, no. I'm the expert, and then you're not the expert.
Exactly. You're always wrong.
That's a very fun game. And it's a nice warm up for just expanding the little creative space, going from like knowing to not knowing to knowing to not knowing. Very
Yeah,
fun. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
for a while I ran a lot of groups for people that were dealing with in companies where they would want somebody to come in to help them with habit change, like behavior change, stopping smoking, changing their eating habits and so on.
Yeah,
A game
yeah.
like this, people would be rooting for each other because just like the rock, paper, scissors, people would be rooting for each other. That would be a fun game to play with people because they would just get behind it. They would get into it. Yeah. So we've covered a lot of ground here. So this is the magic of playing games, but also the way improv really takes that to another level. These kind of games, the way you're deploying them with people, just takes that into a level, but instead of competition, goodwill, right? Of like
Exactly.
collaboration, goodwill. And people then obviously fall in love with each other. They become friends. They might literally fall in love like this couple.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in the early days of Playfair, somebody saying to me, "You're not training these kids for the world the way it really is. I don't think this is practical, your event." And I said to them, yeah, maybe we're not training them for the world the way it is, but we're training them for the world the way it could be. And let's see if they make a different world than we did.
What a beautiful idea. And it's really what I was thinking as we were talking is this is what the world could be if people got behind it. And,
Yeah.
Mark Evan Jackson, he's an improviser.
Yeah.
He's on The Good
Yeah.
Place. And
Yes, exactly.
he has an article he wrote it years ago, but he says how taking improv classes in some ways really changes the way you see the world because you realize how few people actually listen, how few people actually collaborate. Once you become aware of that, you have two choices. One is you could be more cynical, or you could say we need more of that energy of the improv mindset. We need more of it. So you're going out there, and that's what we're trying to do with this podcast is say, let's do more of it. Let's care about each other. Let's be unafraid and unabashed to show that we care about each other and that we're rooting for each other. And Matt, I love that that's what you're training these young people to do, or people in corporations that get more playful. And we know that it works, and we know that we can create a better world.
Yeah.
So what would you like people, how can they find you? What do you want to share with everybody here as we wrap this up?
The best place is to go on playfair.com. And there's wonderful videos on there where people can see just large groups playing together and just the joy that's there. And, I think in the corporate section, I think there might be a link to my TED Talk, which is called What Bernie Madoff Couldn't Steal From Me. If not, you go on TED.com and just
we'll put that link in the show notes. That's something
Yeah.
people should hear. It's a very powerful talk. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that would be great. I mean, and people want to be in contact. There's a contact right on playfair.com.
Thank you so much, Matt. What a delight to talk to you today. Your energy is infectious, and I know that you're changing lives. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Judith.
That's it for this episode of Improv in Real Life. For more info about our guest and other resources, you can visit our show notes. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please follow or subscribe wherever you listen. And if you're feeling extra generous, write us a review or share with a friend. You can also find us on Instagram at Lifestage_Inc. And if you want to dive deeper into these concepts, please connect with me on Substack at Treder-Wolff.
To be continued, to be continued, to be continued.
We need each other now more than ever. We need creativity more than ever. I hope these games and ideas inspire you in some way. And if they do, keep it going. I will too. See you next time.